So the moment we all been waiting for, I'm going to speak on the apparatus is what it was taught to me as and named as. It was called the apparatus. And this particular apparatus has been mistaken as being a UFO. It's been mistaken as being a military funded project or craft. It's been mistaken for being titled as Nibiru, a planet that's supposed to come back, of which I want to do an episode on it. I have to see how that works out on a financial level and get back with you guys. However, we're going to talk about the apparatus. And the apparatus is a sound device or an object that records everything, including the motions on this planet. What you got to remember is that every time you do this, every time you step up or walk back, this creates a sound. And there's a particular sound device that records all this information going on the planet, and it's called some people call it an equalizer because it equalizes the planet. There's a function built into this sound device that when you learn how to tap into it, it equalizes the planet. There's a group of beings that know how to tap into this particular function. And what they do to equalize the planet, it can be various different things. I mean, it could be a million different scenarios. Some of the more popular scenarios are weather scenarios. Scenarios with the weather. These are the most popular ways that they equalize or sometimes even synthesize the planet through this particular contraption. And from my research, when it was first created, it was created by a benevolent force, a good force, a positive force that had the interests of humanity in mind and furthering what's called unlimited progress on the planet. This particular sound device was originally created to enhance scenarios on the planet. What do I mean by that? Well, you go to work and you come home every day. That can get pretty boring. But the question is, what happens when you go to work every day? And what happened at work? And what happened after you came home with your children, you was watching TV and making dinner? This can all be enhanced by this equalizer if you have knowledge of it. And they didn't tell you about this in different so-called self-help material. So they teach you about universal law, and they say there's 7 universal laws, of which I've done a video on called Universal Law. If you want to check that out, it's an old video, like 12 years old, 13 years old. And I speak on universal law as if this is something that we discovered from our senses, or no, this is something that was programmed into the equalizer, which I discovered later. And these 7 laws are programmed into the equalizer. And what's happening now is that there are a group of beings. This equalizer also maps time. And there's a group of beings that want to and that have hacked the equalizer. And now they want to control what you hear, eventually what you see. So you got to remember, let's go back a little bit. The television, you get into the advent of the television, was created from the same equalizer. See, the television wasn't created in the early 1900s. The television was created actually during the time of, this is something that you probably haven't heard from many sources, but it's out there. But the television was created during the time of Jesus. I got this from, I do all my research now in the dark web because they encode this information in another language. It makes it very easy once you know the language to be able to interpret it. And from my research, Jesus and his story is talking about television. Elijah Muhammad taught that Jesus had a radio in his head. It was built into his head. And that beings could send messages to him through this particular radio. He taught this back in the 30s. But how was he able to know something like that? He said that God taught him. That's respectful. But where did God learn from? You can can say he's God, he knows everything. But no, remember, he was God according to Elijah Muhammad. He had to learn through the university to become God. He had to go through a school. So that means someone taught him this, is what I'm getting at. And this particular group that taught this is going into the equalizer. We're going into a group that's based out of Israel, to get more specific. And that's a Jewish-based, for the lack of a better word, I'm not trying to go into Hebrew and all that, but it's a Hebraic or Jewish-based group. And they've been researching this for way longer, and they claim that their ancestors created it, which could be true. The equalizer, of which I just started researching. And there's a group of beings now that want to abuse and are doing it and successfully abusing what's being heard, what's being said, and taking that and stealing and creating money and currency systems, that's right, off of what's being heard and said, because they're able to hear about stuff and what may be the future in one place. We've talked about this before. Because anytime it's 8 o'clock somewhere and it's 4 o'clock somewhere else, wherever it's 4 o'clock at, based on where it's 8 o'clock at, where it's 4 o'clock at, they're in the past. Where it's 8 o'clock at, they're in the future. And if you tune into the equalizer at certain times, you can steal information and stuff like that on the stock market and make money. And I'm not a snitch. This is not why I'm making this video. Because I respect how a man hustles or a woman hustles to get money. But it's only when a person gets greedy. Because if you're really rich, and I always tell people this, you go to zero. If you're truly rich, meaning that you get paid last. Richest man in Babylon teaches that you get 10% out of whatever you spend or create in wealth. You only get 10%, and you only get that 10% last. Meaning that if you're really rich from listening to this equalizer, why aren't you sharing? Why is there homeless people on the street? Why is there people robbing and bums, but you got all of this money? Why can't you go out like the rappers used to do and give out 20s if you got all this money? That's why I don't respect a lot of these European billionaires. I'm not being racist here, because I have Europeans in my family, actually. So, I mean, I respect that. But I'm just saying, a lot of them, see, the rappers did it. I take my hat off to them. They gave out money to strip club. Don't matter how they did it, they did it. But you got these rich people that talk a lot of game about how they can help you, but they're not going to give nobody nothing. I give out credit every day. I'm rich in credit. I say I'm rich in credit because I am. And I've explained that in other episodes. And I give out money every day. But you have these rich people, they don't want to give, they're rich in fiat notes, and they don't want to share not even $1 out of it. They don't believe in that. That's fine. That's their doctrine. That's fine. But I'm saying you're poor to me. You're poor and ugly to me because of the fact that you have all of this money. Why can't you? It's going to make you more money according to the equalizer, and you know that. So if you're truly greedy, why aren't you giving out money if you're so greedy? You're not greedy. You're stingy. You're sick. You have a sickness. I'm not trying to be funny here. That can only be cured by the equalizer. By your knowledge of learning what's going on, what's being heard and said, and what's getting ready to come up on September the 24th is going to heal you. That's what I'm here to say on this episode. What's going to happen on September the 24th is the only way that these sickos are going to be healed. Because of the fact that what's going to happen on the 21st is going to, again, put a balance back in the equalizer. A lot of people that were deemed rich are not going to be rich. A lot of people that were poor are going to become wealthy. A lot of industries that were considered broke are going to become wealthy. A lot of industries that were considered rich are going to become poor. Because in learning this equalizer, I say this should shut down because I'm sure it will get cut off. The one thing I'll say is this. In learning this equalizer and learning about it, there's no such thing. It can take a scenario of a rich-ass country and within hours or weeks or a short time, put it that way, destroy it and make it poor. A group of people and listening to this equalizer, if they truly were a think tank of people, they've done this. This is how they rule the world. Can destroy you. So why not give back? This is not a threat, but I'm just saying, why not give back? Because you could be destroyed from the same stuff that you learned after September the 24th. So that's what I'm here to say. I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Have some things to do. I appreciate the donations and help. Continue to keep them coming. I will continue to keep the episodes coming. I got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I just have to kind of put a cap on so-called free information for a minute. They was getting on me, like, some of the higher ups, so-called elites. The game is to be sold and not told, and all of this stuff, and they'll, ban you. And I don't want members, myself or members of my trading group, to get liens put on them and stuff. So I have to do this or whatever. And people get mad, but I'd rather do this than ask you for money. So I appreciate those that help. I'm gonna go ahead and get to this area and make this final product in exchange for this person that donated, because it came with a price. I have to meet them across some water to make the transaction final. So you guys stay vigilant. Namaste. Peace.